This is David looking with GrassFlap. We're getting ready to do an installation of a GrassFlap onto this Bradley 36-inch. So I want to walk you through the steps. Here are the components that come with the kit, along with the tools that we're going to need. First thing we have to do is lower the deck and remove the belt guard on the side here. Now that that's out of the way, we're going to go ahead and remove the factory chute. Let's go ahead and remove the belt guard so we have access there as well. Okay, with that out of the way, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and assemble the hinge plate and blocker plate using the 1/4-inch bolts, the carriage bolts that are provided in the kit. We're going to put these in, lay the hinge plate down, set the blocker plate on top of it, and go ahead and install the nuts. When we set the blocker plate on, you're going to basically center the bolts in the center of the slot. That's a good starting point. You can make some fine-tuning adjustments later if you need to. This takes a 7/16 socket. Now we're going to go ahead and install the assembly onto the mower deck itself. Note that the tabs for the GrassFlap itself go on the front side of the factory tabs. We use the 3/8 by 1-inch carriage bolts to connect it to the mower deck. And we're going to go ahead and position the hinge plate against the side of the mower, so I'll just use my knee to hold it up tight. Then we'll go ahead and tighten up all 4 carriage bolts. With that done, we're going to go ahead and set the cable in place. So we're going to take the end with the ball only on it and slip it through under the carriage frame, and then we're going to go ahead and connect the other end, the end with the clevis on it. We're going to connect that to the spring mount. When we install that, we are just going to run the jam nuts so they are just onto the threaded fitting, just enough that the rubber boot can fit on there. So most of the threads are going to be toward the middle of the mower. Now we're going to move over to the other side and install the hand lever itself. So we'll remove the front 2 frame bolts. Take the 5/8 socket and a 9/16 wrench on the inside. We're going to go ahead and drop our 3/8 bolts into the hand lever, slip our bushings onto that, and then set that whole assembly. Go ahead and insert it into the holes for the 2 bolts that we removed, and run our nuts that we took off. We're going to run those back on. Note that the assembly has the connection point for the cable facing out. I'm going to go back over to the flap side. We're going to go ahead and connect the cable at this point. So we're going to slip this bushing into the hole. Okay, so the pin, when we put the pin in, we want the head of the pin to be on the same side as the spring. Go ahead and put our clevis pin in, and we'll go ahead and wrap this around so that it doesn't come out and doesn't get snagged. Go ahead and connect the spring now. I use a pair of channel locks and just pull on the open side of the hook, put it around the spring bolt, I'm going to go ahead and snug the jam nuts for the cable. You don't have to over tighten these. Get them snug and they'll be fine. Now we're going over to the hand lever side. We're going to remove the jam nut, slip the fitting into the holder, and spin the jam nuts back on. On this end, we want to have the jam nuts as far onto the fitting as they'll go. Next thing we're going to do is connect the removable clevis. We'll put the head of the pin on the same side as the slot. We'll have the cotter pin go on the inside. It's a little bit tricky to get into the hole here and it wrapped around, but that keeps it out of harm's way where it won't get snagged inadvertently. With that done, then the next thing we want to do is adjust the position of the hand lever. So we'll loosen the jam nuts. We'll pull on the cable to pull the hand lever forward. Once we get it there, spin the first jam nut on and then tighten it up. So with the spring mount in place here, this guard has to be notched to fit around the spring mount. So what we're going to do is we'll come in and measure 1 inch off this edge for our first mark, and then go 2 1/8 inches. So you'll be 3 1/8 for this spot, and then cut this notch out in the guard so that it will fit down over the spring mount. So let me show you what it looks like. Next thing we need to do is secure the cable. So there is a Z-clip that comes with the kit. We're going to slip the Z-clip over here just above the deck lift assist bar. We'll put a zip tie through that Z-clip and draw the cable over. We're not going to tighten it up. We're just going to make a loose connection. Then down on the engine, there is a hole just below the muffler pipe, and we'll use that then to secure the cable up under the mower deck so it stays up out of the blades. You can see the routing here runs across the first zip tie, then runs up along inside the belt cover on the left hand side of the mower, up to our next zip tie with the Z-clip, and then up to the handle itself. Go ahead and raise the deck back up and do an inspection just to make sure that you don't have anything that's going to get into the belts in that. Also make sure that you're not too close to the mufflers. We'll go ahead and install our belt cover guard. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and test the flap itself. So the motion here is a pull and release. If you just pull it straight back, it's only going to go halfway. So it's actually, you're flipping the door open, so you have to pull back and release.